Hello everyone, I hope you are all doing well. I'm Manhar and welcome back to MSFT webcast. In this video, we are going to learn the steps on how to configure Workgroup Failover cluster in Windows Server 2025. A workgroup cluster is a specific type of failover cluster configuration in Windows Server. In workgroup clusters, two or more nodes are connected as member servers without relying on an on-premises domain controller or Active Directory forest. Workgroup clusters are not domain joined, instead they are joined to a workgroup. This still requires the use of DNS for name resolution. If DNS is not available, we can edit the host file and add static entries for name resolution. Typically, failover clusters are part of an Active Directory domain services to offer identity services and centralized management at scale. However, in certain scenarios, you may prefer to run a failover cluster without Active Directory to minimize hardware cost, maintenance, and other operational overheads. Workgroup clusters provide a centralized identity and maintain high security, ensuring our applications remain highly available. And by not using Active Directory, customers can still achieve the high availability at a lower cost. A few prerequisites must be met for our workgroup cluster to qualify as an officially supported deployment. All servers intended to be used as workgroup cluster nodes must be running the same version of Windows Server. All workgroup cluster nodes must be part of a workgroup and cannot be joined to an Active Directory domain. Our cluster must have storage spaces direct, SAN attached storage, or NAS using SMB 3.0 or later storage technologies configured and accessible to all cluster nodes. Workgroup clusters are recommended and supported for Hyper-V VMs and SQL Server availability groups. We want to create Workgroup Failover cluster for Hyper-V virtual machine. In this video, we will create a failover cluster on Windows Server 2025. And in the next video, we will set up a highly available virtual machine using the workgroup cluster. Setting up a failover cluster in a workgroup environment involves several steps. The first step is preparing both of our nodes. To get started, we need to configure our servers. This includes creating identical user accounts on each server node, adding the servers as a trusted host, and ensuring that each server has a common primary DNS suffix. Let's get started. Step 1. Create a consistent admin account on each node. A consistent administrator user account must be created on each node. The username and password of these accounts must be same on all nodes, and the account must also be added to the local administrators group. We can use the built-in administrator account, but in this video, I have created a new user account Manhar with admin level permissions. Right-click on the Start menu, select Terminal Admin to open Windows PowerShell with admin permissions. Type the command "Who am I?" and press Enter. I have logged into this server using Manhar's user account. Type the command "NetUser Manhar" and press Enter. We can confirm that this user account is a member of the built-in administrators group. If you are using an account other than the default administrator, you will need to set the local account token filter policy registry policy to 1 on all cluster nodes that will be used to create the cluster. Tap regedit and press Enter to open the registry editor. Go to HK Local Machine, Software, Microsoft, Windows, Current Version, Policies, System, and Expand System. Check if the local account token filter policy registry entry is present. If the local account token filter policy entry is not present, you will need to create it. Create new DWORD 32-bit value and name it local account token filter policy. Right-click local account token filter policy and select modify. In the value data box, type 1 and then select OK. Exit registry editor. Step 2. Ensure nodes are trusted host for remote management. Each server node must be added to Windows Remote Management as a trusted host. To do that, modify the trusted host file by adding an entry for each server that will connect to the local machine. In this video, we will use group policy to modify the trusted host file and add the node to Windows Remote Management as a trusted host. Type gpedit.msc and press Enter to open the local group policy editor. Navigate to Local Computer Policy, Computer Configuration, Administrative Templates, Windows Components, Windows Remote Management, and click on WinRM Client. Double-click on Trusted Host Settings. In the Trusted Host dialog, select the Enabled Radio button and then enter a comma-separated list of trusted hosts by hostname. Type ws2k25-hv02.msftwebcast.com, select Apply and then OK. Close the Group Policy Editor window. Step 3. Set primary DNS suffix. It enables the cluster servers to communicate with each other by FQDN names. Type sysdm.cpl and press Enter. Click on Change. The server's hostname is ws2k25-hv01 and it is in a workgroup. Click on More. Under the primary suffix of this computer, enter the DNS suffix you want to use. For this example, enter msftwebcast.com and click OK. Click OK, then click OK again. Check the current full computer name. It should resemble the fully qualified domain name even if the server is part of a workgroup. Click on Close and then click on Restart later. Step 4. Add static entry in host file. We need to modify the host file to allow resolving hostnames to IP addresses when working in a workgroup without DNS. Type Notepad, C, Windows, System32, drivers, etc, host and press Enter to open the host file in Notepad. Add your node's IP address and hostname to the host file similar to this example. I have also added the FQDN and IP address of the failover cluster client access point name which we will create later on. Save the host file and exit the Notepad. Let's restart the server now. Type the command restart-computer and press Enter. After the reboot, sign in again to the server using Manhar user account. Open Run menu, type ncpa.cpl and press Enter to open network connections. In this example, I have added 3 network adapters on both nodes. One network adapter is for the LAN connection, another is for iSCSI storage access, and the third is for the private heartbeat connection between cluster nodes. Here is the image with an overview of the network adapter names and IP addressing details for each network adapter. Close the network connections window. Step 5. Connecting to iSCSI storage. Open the Run menu, type iSCSI CPL and press Enter to open the iSCSI initiator properties. Click Yes to start the service and set the service startup mode to automatic. Go to Discovery tab. Click on Discover Portal. Enter the IP address of the iSCSI target. In our case, the IP address of iSCSI target server is 192.168.72.1. The default port for iSCSI is 3260. Click OK. Next, go to the Targets tab. We can see that the target is detected, but its status is inactive. Select the discovered target and click on Connect. You can select the option Add this connection to the list of favorite targets to reconnect the iSCSI targets whenever the server restarts. By default, the checkbox is selected. For this demo, we are not configuring multipath I/O or adjusting the advanced options. Click OK. The status will change to Connected. Click OK to close the iSCSI initiator properties. Let's bring the disk online and create a partition on it. Right-click on the Start menu and select Disk Management. Let me maximize the Disk Management console. Our 2 disk appears as unknown and offline. They also display the size we configured on the iSCSI server such as 100 GB and 5 GB. Right-click on disk number 1 and select Online. Now right-click on disk number 2 and select Online. Right-click on disk number 2 and select Initialize Disk. In the box that appears, make sure both on your disk have a check mark next to them. Choose the GPT partition style and click OK. Right-click in the unallocated space of disk 1 and select New Simple Volume. Leave the defaults in place. Choose a drive later to assign. Label the 100 GB volume as cluster storage. Click Next and click on Finish to create a simple volume. We need to repeat the same steps for the second disk. Right-click and select New Simple Volume. Click Next, Next, Next. Label the 5 GB volume as Quorum. Click Next and click on Finish. If you want, you can change the drive later as per your requirement. Close the disk management console. The storage configuration is complete on this node. Step 6. Install the failover clustering feature. Open an administrative PowerShell session by right-clicking the Start menu and selecting Terminal Admin. Tap the command install -Windows feature -name failover clustering -include management tools. Press the Enter key to install the Windows failover clustering feature with management tools. Wait for the installation process to complete. Once the installation process is done, verify installation was successful by running get-windows feature failover-clustering command. We can confirm that the failover clustering feature is installed on our local server. We need to perform the same steps on our second node. Let's connect to our second node using the RDP. To save time, I have already completed most of the steps on our second node WS2K25-HV02. Only the storage configuration is pending on our second node. Open the Run menu, tap iSCSI CPL and press Enter to open the iSCSI initiator properties. Click Yes to start the service and set the service startup mode to automatic. Go to Discovery tab. Click on Discover Portal. Enter the IP address of the iSCSI target. In our case, the IP address of iSCSI target server is 192.168.72.1. Click OK. Then go to Targets tab. Select the discovered target and click on Connect. Click OK. The status will change to Connected. Click OK to close the iSCSI initiator properties. Right-click on the Start menu and select Disk Management. Both of our disks appear as offline. Keep it offline. There is no need to bring it online. Close the RDP connection and return to Node 1 WS2K25-HV01. Step 7. Create the workgroup cluster. Now we are ready to create a workgroup cluster using the server nodes we have prepared. We can use either the Failover Cluster Manager or Microsoft PowerShell. To do this on a server, open the Server Manager. Then from the Tools menu, select Failover Cluster Manager. Before creating the failover cluster, we strongly recommend validating the configuration to ensure that the hardware and settings are compatible with failover clustering. Microsoft supports a cluster solution only if the complete configuration passes all validation tests and if all hardware is certified for the version of Windows Server that the cluster nodes are running. Under Management, click on Validate Configuration. On the Before You Begin page, click Next. In the Enter Name box, type the NetBIOS name or the fully qualified domain name of a server that you plan to add as a failover cluster node. Type ws2k25-hv01.msftwebcast.com and click on Add button. Repeat this step for each server that you want to add. Type ws2k25-hv02.msftwebcast.com and click on Add button. When you finish, select Next. On the Testing Options page, select Run All Test and then select Next. On the Confirmation page, select Next. The validating page displays the status of the running test. This process may take several minutes depending on your network infrastructure and the number of nodes you have chosen to add to your cluster. Once the tests are complete, check the report and resolve any configuration warnings or errors. If the results indicate warnings or failures, select View Report to see the details and identify which issues need to be corrected. Click on View Report. This will open the report in Microsoft Edge web browser. We have one warning in the System Configuration category. The first warning is related to the Active Directory configuration. Let's click on it. This is because both servers are not joined to a domain. We can ignore this warning since we are setting up a workgroup cluster. Click on Back to Summary. Click on Validate Software Update Labels. This warning is related to Windows Update. Since both nodes are not connected to the internet, the system cannot determine the update status. We can also ignore this warning. And we have one warning about the restart is pending on our member server. Let's restart our member server. Click on Start button and click on Power button and then select Restart. This is going to be planned restart. Click on Continue. In a production environment, ensure that both nodes are up to date with the latest Windows updates. Close the cluster validation report. So you can verify our member server is now up and running. Let's close this session. We are now ready to create a 2-node workgroup cluster. Select the checkbox, create the cluster now using the validated nodes. Once you are ready, click on Finish. On Before You Begin page, click Next. Enter the cluster name that you want to use to administer the cluster. This is also known as cluster access point name. We are going to name it HV cluster. In the address field next to the selected network, enter the IP address that you want to assign to the cluster. In this example, I am assigning the IP address 172.18.72.55. Click Next to continue. On the confirmation page, review the settings. By default, the Add All Eligible Storage to the Cluster checkbox is selected. Clear this checkbox if you want to configure storage later. Select Next to create the failover cluster. Wait for this cluster creation process to complete. This will only take a few seconds. Please wait while the cluster is configured. On the summary page, confirm that the failover cluster was successfully created. If there were any warnings or errors, select View Report to see the full report. Go to Microsoft Edge and we can confirm that the cluster was created successfully. Let's close this report. Select Finish. Let's wait for the cluster to load properly in the Failover Cluster Manager. Verify that the cluster is configured correctly. Expand cluster name and navigate to Nodes. Ensure that both nodes in the cluster are online. Expand storage and click on Disk. The system detects the iSCSI drives and displays them here. If you were setting this up with only 2 nodes, the 5 GB quorum disk would have been assigned as a disk witness in the quorum configuration. Click on Networks. As you can see, we have total 3 networks. This is our cluster network 1. Let's double click on it. Cluster and client use is configured for this cluster network. Click OK. Let's double click on second cluster network. For this network, only cluster network communication is enabled. So our cluster is using this network for heartbeat communication. Click OK. And this is our third network. We are using this network in the iSCSI storage access. And that's why we are not going to use this network in the cluster communication. Click OK. So cluster network is also configured properly. So we can confirm that we have successfully created a workgroup cluster using Windows Server 2025. In the next video, we will create a highly available virtual machine using this workgroup failover cluster. That's all for this video on how to configure workgroup failover cluster in Windows Server 2025. I hope you found this video helpful and informative. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos on Microsoft Hyper-V and other Microsoft related topics. Thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day.